In life, there are good and bad things. There are good and bad moments, but not everybody has a happy ending. Not everybody, not everybody is going to get what they want in life, but more importantly, when people die, it might not be when they expected to die or how they expected to die. Their life might not have played out the way they thought it would, because life is a unfair and cruel game, and some people get more in this life than others, not because of who they are, but just because they're lucky, either because they're attractive on the outside, or they have money, or they have status, whatever. Not everybody has a happy ending. So people need to think about this when they choose to have kids. Your kid could grow up to kill himself like when he's 20 years old because, he didn't get any life advice from his father or anything, and his life sucks and he just wants to get it over with. That happens all the time in the world, I guarantee it. I don't have statistics, but come on, people killing themselves all the time in this world, and unfortunately a lot of them is young people. Yes, it is. I can almost guarantee that because, well, for many reasons, but like I said, lack of father figures and just more isolated and lonely than ever, especially with the internet age. But not every person in this world has a happy ending. Yes, everybody's going to die one day, and death itself, I mean, when you choose to have a kid, you're signing them up for death. I mean, I see people with their kids every day, man. It's baffling to me. Like, how could you put someone through this life cycle, them growing up and then they're gonna die one day, probably in pain, probably in pain for a long time, because people don't like giving out euthanasia. They like dying slowly, or they don't like dying slowly, but the government likes to watch them squirm slowly. Sickening, isn't it? Or the government doesn't give a shit. But I see people with their kids all the time. It's like, how many brain cells do they even have? They just treat the kid as like a toy. It's just so dumb, man. But anyway, not everybody has a happy ending. And some people, I mean, come on, people get murdered out there. People get fucking slaughtered to death in places that you think would be safe. I mean, murders happening in the UK, the USA. You think those first world countries would be safe, but nope. People get murdered all the time there. Or people get hurt, but still, people get killed. People get their lives taken away. And they might not be an anti-natalist at all. They might love their life, but still, it doesn't matter. Their life was cut short because human beings are crazy and this world doesn't give a fuck about you. It really doesn't. Because, I mean, and parents put their children into these situations where someone who may even love their life gets their life cut short. That happens all the time, man. Um, yeah. Um, it definitely happens all the time because there's so many people in this world, so many situations and scenarios going on every second of the day. And parents put their kids into this situation, not even thinking about the danger they could be in one day. And they really don't have an accurate estimation for how well they can protect their kid. They really don't, man. It's just so selfish. I mean, come on, I'm pretty sure most people know about like stranger danger, right? And like, you should be careful of people. Well, I wasn't until recently, but whatever. I mean, some people aren't even taught like stranger danger or whatever. Or they're just not taught to be aware of their surroundings and not let people get close to them. I've been there, but it's because nobody taught me. Nobody taught me these things. I mean, nobody taught me how to be aware of my surroundings, and I paid the price for it. But other people pay the price for it too, and they get fucking murdered and shit. Uh, this world is just a wicked place, man. It's a cruel place. Side note, this is kind of random, but yesterday I was walking to McDonald's and I saw this, like, I don't know, this fucking dispute, right? Well, maybe let's call it a domestic dispute. Like this guy was arguing with this woman, and people were watching, or some people were watching, and then they looked at me, and then I just fucking walked past it. I didn't even give a fuck, you know, because it's like, who cares, you know? No one cared for me when I was in a dangerous situation. Like this is what humans do. Have you ever noticed this? Like if there's like a confrontation going down in public, a lot of people would just stand there and stare. Have you ever seen that? I've seen it multiple times. I saw it yesterday with a few people just standing and staring at these people screaming at each other or whatever, you know? Like, this is what people do. They just stand and stare. I find it very weird, to be honest. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this or it's just me, but people just stand and stare and they just look at whatever's going on, you know? Like when it's a confrontation and it could get violent, you know what I mean? And I just walk past that shit because there's nothing to do with me and no one gives a fuck anyways. They're all NPCs. But that's just a random rant. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But yeah, the main topic of this video, not everybody has a happy ending, and that's true because people get their lives cut short or they choose to take their own life because life has treated them like garbage. This is why euthanasia should be available, man. I've said it before, euthanasia should be an option if you're tired of existence. I mean, it really sucks that I have to say that because people don't want to make each other's lives better. They don't. You see on social media and like all this bullshit, like you could see stuff like, hang in there, it's going to get better for you. But do you really think those people care about you? No. And in reality, no one gives a fuck about people, you know, especially men. No one gives a fuck about making their lives better. How could you make their lives better? Like, I don't know, give them some money so they can go and get laid. Some of them haven't gotten laid in years, you know? I mean, cut these guys a break. It's just, you know, no one really cares in reality about making each other's lives better, at least to me. Maybe some people make each other's lives better and try to help each other out, probably, but I haven't seen that. I don't know, man. I don't know. But not everybody has a happy ending in this world. This world treats people like garbage, and like I was saying, yeah, it is sad that I have to say, like, euthanasia should be an option if you're tired of existence. Because we should make people's lives better. We should make the world a better place. But it sounds so cringy, me even saying that, because this world is not turning into a better place, man. Nah, man, it's full of fucking criminals walking free in dangerous situations. I'm talking about the human world, you know? Like, human beings are fucking slaves and pathetic and evil, narcissistic creatures. It seems to me, at least. And some of them are so evil that they cut each other's lives short, you know? And some of them get away with shit like that as well. That's what's really bad. Or they get away with harming people, you know? Why would you bring a person into a world where people get away with harming other people? Does that sound like a good world to you? No. I mean, you have to be realistic. I mean, I live in London, right? A big city, and I go on the buses. You're not going to see any really criminal activity when you go on the buses in daylight. But I've been the victim of criminal activity, and you could see it on the news. So I'm totally not naive to the way this city is and the way this world is. It's an evil place, full of terrible acts being imposed upon other humans that didn't need to be imposed upon them, full of suffering. That's the world you're living in. So you can't just be all sunshine and rainbows and think that your kid could be the exception and your kid could have a great life. They might have a great life, but still they didn't need to be born, so they ain't missing out on shit if you don't have them, you know? And if you do have them, even if they do have a great life, there's always a risk that their life could not even be cut short, but their life could just be destroyed, you know? Destroyed mentally, physically, whatever. Spiritually, emotionally, because life is cruel, and we have to put up with a lot of things in this life that we don't want to put up with, you know? Whether it's minor things like traffic or dumb co-workers, or it's major things like being the victim of a crime or all this bullshit, because it happens to people all the time. and they don't deserve it. It's just random fucking brutality and chaos. There's no rhyme or reason behind any of this world. There's no fucking justification for any of it. It's just one sick mess. That's all it is. It's all fucking pointless and meaningless. Not in a nihilistic, depressed way. I'm not depressed, by the way. I'm not. In a Just in a realistic way. What's the point of being born into this world? Well, that's not your choice. But what's the point of bringing somebody else into it purposefully? Not as a mistake or an accident, but purposefully bringing a kid into this world. There is zero point in that. There's zero logic in that. There's zero good faith in that. You're not doing them a favor. You're only being a selfish prick and thinking like, I don't know. People have all sorts of delusions when it comes to bringing somebody into this world. There is no reason to choose to purposefully bring somebody into this evil world. You know, no reason at all. It's people just fool themselves, and they think that life is a beautiful thing and life is worth starting. But they're fooling themselves, but they're really just being selfish too. Why can't they be selfish in the fact that just spend their money on themselves and just have a kid that's already here, foster it or adopt a kid? Why do you have to make your own kid? That just shows how selfish you are, you know? I mean, I kind of understand it because I'm sure people know that, like, takes over, when a lion gets a female, he kills all the cubs that aren't his, and then he impregnates the female to make his own babies. He doesn't want to raise another male's offspring. So it's programmed into human DNA as well, to father and protect our own offspring. But it's also selfish, and humans should know better. Lions don't know better. Humans should know better. But I've said it before, humans don't know better, and they always do bad things or stupid things or selfish things or ignorant things. Humans don't know better, but they should know better. But some of us know better. I know better. I know better to not bring somebody into this world, and I'm young. I'm in my early 20s. You guys know better. Why can't the rest of humanity know better? I guess it's because people are just different in the way they were raised or their brain chemistry or whatever. Some of them genuinely like life so much that despite the bad endings in life, even whether they're aware of it or not, they'll still choose to have a kid. But I can pretty much guarantee that most people who choose to have kids don't even think about it as well. They don't. What they think about is being able to provide financially for the kid. That's what they really think about. They don't think about everything the kid could suffer through in its entire life. They do not think about that, probably even for 5 minutes, I bet. They just think about providing for the kid financially and moving to a good neighborhood, a good school, good friends for the kid, a good environment for the kid. They don't think about everything the kid could suffer through in life. And they purposefully, or they willy-nilly just force a kid into this existence where they could be the victim of all sorts of shit, or they could be a bad person themselves and inflict harm on others. It's just bad, man. It's just wrong. It's just wrong to bring a kid into this world. It's just wrong. It's wrong in every single way, and no one can convince me otherwise, because I know the truth, and the truth doesn't change, man. Human beings have been the same for thousands of years, and they'll always be the same, and reality will always be the same. I don't think humans will ever defeat reality. What do I mean by that? Reality in the sense that, like, there will always be suffering in this world, and humans will always be slaves to their evil impulses, and they will commit evil acts and evil deeds and put suffering onto others when there's no reason to. The victim is an innocent person. Humans do that all the time in this world. Humans will always do that as well. So what's the point of bringing somebody into a world where people purposefully harm each other for no reason? Somebody they don't even know, just someone they can get away with harming. I mean, think about it. People sink that low in this world. Why would you bring somebody into a world filled with people like that? I'm not saying everybody's like that. No, most people are not. But there's a lot of bad people out there, you know? Maybe they won't even harm you. Maybe they'll just scam you. You know, there's a lot of scammers out there. What if they scam your kid one day and he fucking goes bankrupt or whatever? And he ends up killing himself. You know, people have killed themselves over losing a business. They have. I mean, that's not a happy ending, you know? So, I mean, I like to be hopeful and optimistic, right? Especially for me personally. But life is just so chaotic and you don't know what's going to hit you in the next decade or so. You don't know, man. You know, life is unpredictable and some people get way worse suffering in this life than others. Some people suffer in this life that other people could not even conceive of that pain, you know? They couldn't even like fathom how much suffering that person's gone through. And not everybody's gonna be able to endure that, you know? Some people may want to kill themselves after they go through something traumatic, or they may lose control of themselves. They may turn into a bad person. Who knows, you know? I'm willing to bet scenarios like that happen all the time in this world, because this world is just a crazy place, man. It is. It's a very crazy place. People just want to be all like PC and like politically correct in school, right? They don't want to teach you the truth. They don't. They only care about making more wage slaves. That's why they don't teach anything like anti-natalism in like schools. Do they even teach philosophy? Well, they do teach it, but I bet there's no anti-natalism there. You can probably learn more on the internet anyways than you can in school or college or university even, I bet. I bet that's true. I bet you can. But where am I going with this? Yeah, I mean, life does not have happy endings for everybody, and people can go through things that can change their life forever, you know, for the worse, you know, for the negative. And some people can keep on living through that and keep smiling, and some people can't. So it's just cruel to force somebody into this world full of risks, this game that no one asked to play, this gamble that no one asked to be a part of. Exactly. Life is a gamble. It's not a gift. It never was. Life is a gamble. It's pretty simple. Because everything in this life is a risk. Almost everything, you know? Almost everything in large quantities can harm you. Like too much food, too much sleep can be bad, I think. Too much water, you know? These things are good, but too much of them can harm you, you know? Yeah, I mean, and we all have the same destination anyways, no matter what we do in life, it's death. So why would you purposefully create a child, raise it, and bring it into this world just for it to meet its final destination like everybody else, which is in the coffin, you know? What's the point in that? There's no point because they don't exist and they're not missing out on anything and they have no needs and desires. You know, they don't need you to be their mommy, you know? Why don't you just be a mommy to a dog or a cat or someone who's already alive? Why do you gotta make somebody else? It's just so cringe. It really is. But, you know, human beings aren't taught this way of thinking in school or anywhere. So they just pop out more kids every single day, man. And it ain't gonna stop ever. I don't know if antinatalism will ever win the battle and get into the minds of most people on the planet, you know? I don't know. Maybe someone like Drake needs to make a song about antinatalism. I don't listen to that guy. I'm just saying. He needs to make a song about fucking antinatalism, you know? Somebody famous does. Because think about how many psychopaths will not be born, you know? And think about how much death and pain and suffering will be prevented. Yep. Yeah, man, that would be a lot of pain and suffering prevented that never became tangible or physical to any of those beings that were never born. So you can almost measure it in your mind, like how much suffering a person on average could go through in life. It's quite a lot, you know, whether it's emotional suffering, physical suffering, just on average, you know, on average, how much suffering does a person go through in life? And some people are going to get it a lot worse, and some people are going to get it quite good, you know? Some people ain't going to suffer a day in their life that much. They might just get a couple headaches in their life, and that's it. Whereas some people, they could be stabbed or shot or molested or raped or abused or bullied. All those things could happen to one person, you know? Some people probably have lives like that, which is really sad. I mean, I think about this, you know? I mean, if you're an anti-natalist, you got to think about this. Not just if you're an anti-natalist, but if you're a compassionate person too. You know, you care about preventing suffering. Because I don't think not all anti-natalists are compassionate people, but whatever. Um, there's 8 billion plus humans on the planet, and there's so many people in so many situations. You don't think people are in terrible situations right now? Of course they are. There's many people like that. But the problem is people don't think that way, you know? Yeah, the problem is also this way of thinking in antinatalism isn't taught and isn't popular. It's not popular and it's not taught. It's not taught anywhere, but people just are so single-minded and close-minded, you know? I don't know, it's just the way human beings are, man. We're so close-minded. We think reality just revolves around us, I guess, you know? Mm, that's the mind of parents when they choose to have a kid. You know, it's all about them. It's like their kid is a blessing to them. I mean, I said it before, but I once saw a video of my mum with me and my sister when we were younger. Like, we were like, I don't know, 5 years old. And she in the video said, I've been blessed with 2 healthy children. You know, that sounds so selfish. And it is selfish. I've been blessed with 2 healthy children. Yeah, you was blessed, maybe, but what was I blessed with? I was blessed with nothing but pain and suffering, inevitably, to be honest with you. Um, exactly. Kids are a blessing to their parents, but are the parents a blessing to their kids? Not always. And actually, in every case, you know, in my opinion, they're never a blessing. They're a curse. Kids are a blessing to the parents, but parents are a curse to the kids. Exactly. Parents cause all the suffering for the kids that the kid is ever gonna go through. And yeah, I mean, you hear stories sometimes of like kids killing their parents, you know, it happens. It happens. That's kind of a sick twist of fate, you know. I won't say the parents deserved it. I don't know. I won't be that cold-hearted, but I can kind of see where the kid is coming from if they do shit like that, you know. Maybe they was just a really hardcore anti-natalist and they just needed help, you know. I don't know, man. All I know is that this world is a crazy place, and if you like craziness and you like scary things, go ahead, you know? If you like horror movies, go ahead. But why do you gotta drag somebody else into this craziness, you know? That makes no sense, and it's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. It's the worst thing ever. Yeah, man. I hope I made some good points in this video. I'll wrap it up soon. I'm really just saying whatever I gotta say, you know? Whoever listens, listens. But, yeah. It's a crazy existence, man. All I'd say is don't take it too seriously because you never even asked to be here. To be here. To be in this crazy world. It wasn't your choice. If I could have chosen, I would have been in a better world than this, or a no world at all, you know? But it wasn't our choice. It was our parents' choice. They were supposedly blessed with healthy children, you know? Fuck that shit. Man, I fucking hate that shit. I do. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Thanks for listening.